This is the Investor Connect podcast program. This is Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of the show, in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, private equity, family offices, and many other investor groups for startups and growth companies. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining us. Well, hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Today I'm here with Erwin Jager of Wreckdock Vessel Recycling. Wreckdock is an innovative offshore recycling company that completely dismantles seagoing vessels. Erwin, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Hal.
Great. So, where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Mauritius, Hal.
Oh, great. Nice place. I used to travel there for vacations and so forth, but it sounds like it's a great place to work as well. So let's start off with your background. Tell us more about what you were doing before this.
Since 2007, I was the founder and CEO of Barrows Hotel Enterprises, which is a hotel management advisory firm, which is a leading company in the advisory of management teams in the hotel industry, hotel investments, refurbishment of hotels, and the advisory of financing of hotels. Now, in the beginning of this year, I sold my shares to an Asian investment company. And for, I think, like 20 years, I wanted always to have my own shipyard because boats are my hobby. And I'm really, indoctrinated by big vessels. Now, for me, it's not really a market to step in to build new vessels as well, because the market is overflowed and there's coming a lot of vessels for recycling in the upcoming years. So with the capital, what I gained out of the sales of my company, and together with the capital of two investment companies abroad, we started having a cooperation and acquiring land where we construct 4 dry docks, including our headquarters, including an employee compound where we can host 6,000 employees. We start recycling vessels from 350 meters long, and 40 meters wide, up to 500 meters long. We do that in Saudi Arabia to start with, and in 2 years we're going to start in Iraq as well. Yeah, so that's actually what we're doing at the moment.
Well, so what is the opportunity in vessel recycling? What do you see as the upside potential for making a business?
Well, that's huge. Well, there is a reason why we step in the market right now. That's because of the capital what we have behind us in the first place, because it needs a lot of capital to invest in. The other part is that we establish in Saudi Arabia with a reason. That is because of Saudi Arabia came with his vision for 2030. And it's really an attractive plan for expats, but as well for new companies to establish in Saudi Arabia. They're changing many laws. It makes it interesting as well to establish over there. It is a central location. And in terms of attractivity of vessel recycling, you need to think about this, that every vessel what we recycle and dismantle brings steel, brings so many other components, what we can sell into the local markets. So the moment a vessel reaches our dry docks, everything in the vessel is sold already. So we just do our job, we just recycle it and we deliver it on site at our customers. It's a huge market. If you see the total potential of seagoing vessels at the moment and the total lifespan of a vessel combined with the requirements of green innovations into this industry, then you can see that the recycling industry of end-of-life seagoing vessels is huge. So for us, it's a reason why we established in Saudi Arabia and as well in Iraq. It's the middle of the Middle East. There's a lot of money in the market. In both countries, they have a huge need for steel and for other materials coming out of these vessels. So yeah, that's actually in a nutshell why we step in this market.
Great. So what are the differences between you and your competitors in this space? What are you doing differently?
Yeah, well, that's a good question and an easy one to answer as well. Our competitors in the market, not all of them, but the majority of them, they are shipyards located in India, Pakistan, or Bangladesh, where these big vessels are docked on the beach, just on an open beach. So without any safety for the employees, without any safety for the environment, this is a huge problem. And how we actually developed our business is in the way of doing it in the most clean and sincere way possible. So instead of bringing these vessels to open beaches, we bring them to dry docks. And in the dry docks, we are able to dismantle the vessels in compartments. And out of these compartments, we get smaller elements. And these smaller elements we're going to recycle. And that we do all on site in our own facility. So what are we doing different? Well, first of all, the way we take care about our employees. They're going to stay in our own compound with a lot of facilities for them to be built. You have to think about a supermarket, an internet cafe, sport facilities. We have an own hospital, dental care. Everything is on site. On the other side, what we do on our facility where the business is taking place, we have our own firefight department. We are building a small first aid hospital. That's in a total different way than what you see in the rest of the world. Now, how can we do that, and how can we finance that so easy? And other parts in the world, it's more difficult. That's because of the tax environment in these countries in the Middle East are very friendly. So our labor tax is not that high. Our corporate tax is low compared to, for example, Europe or the United States. It's very attractive for us to establish here.
Very good. So what advice would you give to someone that is entering this space? What do you tell them to do before they join in?
Well, I think before you join, you need to know what's going on. What are we doing actually, and why are we doing this? And the reason why are we doing it is that because we see difficulties in the industry, we see out of these difficulties the opportunities for us as well. Within a network we have, within the sales the trades we made out of these vessels, the opportunities are very wide for everybody, even if it's a vessel owner, even if it's a buyer of the smaller elements. Recycling plants can use our materials as well. The end production market can use our products as well. If you look at from an HR perspective, I'm 100% sure there's a lot of positivism in. So it depends. If you are looking from an investor's perspective, then it's a market with a very high value and a high revenue stream in a short period. Because the moment a vessel is bought and transported to the facility, it's sold already. So we only need to dismantle and recycle it. So in terms of returns, it's a safe environment. It's a market that will be here for decades. It's not a market that will collapse because of other circumstances. There are many vessels in the world that needs to be recycled. You cannot put them in the ocean. You cannot sink them to the bottom. There's too much oil in it, waste oil. There's too much old steel. Other components were very important as well to trade out. All the copper what is in it. But think about it as asbestos as well. So it's very important to take the asbestos out by certified companies instead of doing that on a public beach with immediately danger for the environment. So there we see for us as well a huge market.
Okay, great. Well, you see, what online information source do you find most helpful in your work?
Well, there are a lot of information sources in our industry. There are a lot of conferences ongoing, but the market and the industry is at the same time quite small as well. Everybody knows each other. Everybody knows what everybody is doing. Because these vessels are all registered. They have a name, they have a registration number. And the moment the registration number is changed, and the name is changing, and the allocation is changing, then everybody knows that as well. All this information is public information. Even if it's registered in a BVI company, there comes a moment that ships pops up somewhere. So all this information is available for us, and all this information we use in our business intelligence to build a good business out of it. And I think in not particular our own business, but in every business, it's important to rely on data and information what is available. So for us that's important, and as well the information what we have out of Vision 2030 from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, what they want to gain in the next future, where they want to go to with the country. And for us, that's reason the more to establish in Saudi. We could buy land in Dubai, for example, or in Oman, or in another country nearby. But the possibilities in Saudi Arabia and as well in Iraq are for us like tremendous. So there's no reason for us to look any further. So all these things comes out of information by traveling to these countries, by the network we have out of the hotel industry. We travel a lot, and all these people comes back in networks, and networks build information. So yeah, that's how I think about it.
So what's one thing your business did that you did not expect?
Well, what I did not expect was that we should go to Iraq. It came actually by a very close friend of me who is from Iraq. And he told me, listen, Erwin, they're building now the biggest port of the Middle East. So yes, I know that. He said, why are you not opening a second facility there? I said, well, it's quite close by Saudi Arabia, and the investments are quite high to take. And then he said, yeah, but Iraq is an upcoming economy as well after the war that took place there. So for us, it was like, okay, let's do a research in that country. And then we found out that this country is very good elements to invest in. There's a good environment in it. And a lot of people should say, yes, but there's a lot of corruption in that country too. 100%. But that was old Iraq. Now there is a new Iraq. There are new generations. And the new generation want to really become a reliable Middle Eastern region instead of taking the old heritage from the previous Iraq. So that is actually for us reason more to come to Iraq as well. And it was definitely not expected, and definitely not now. If you should ask me this like a year ago or half a year ago, then I should say, well, if the share transfer with Barrows Hotels is done, then we start in Saudi for sure, but not immediately as well looking at doing Iraq. But that's why when you travel and when you talk with people and when you are open-minded to get information from new countries, because it's proven by history, people who are traveling, they will win. They will find new places to make money, to establish companies, to develop, to meet other local people. And those local people are needed to build new companies and new structures. So that was definitely unexpected. All the rest is just like quite simple. It's land, and that land need to be developed. And from our history as an hotel developer, we are familiar with building facilities, although it was in a different industry. But the development of land is not much different than developing a hotel. The activity is different. That's it.
The last minutes that we have here today, what else should we cover that we haven't?
Not so much, I think. There's a lot of more to say, but we have not so much time, unfortunately. But it's a strong industry, and it's an industry where we all rely on because it's a green environment. We don't want to waste our oceans any longer because that is a disaster for everybody who relies on the water out of the oceans, including the sea life. Yeah, I think everything is said in this way then.
Great. So how best for listeners to get back in touch with you?
Well, we have a website. They can visit our website, wreckdock.com. And otherwise, they can send an email to enquiry@wreckdock.com.
Great. We'll put that in the show notes. I want to thank you for joining us today and hope to have you back for a follow-up soon.
Thank you so much, Hel, for your time, and we definitely stay in touch.
Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org. Paul T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early-stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.